Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into the stories making waves, really get under the surface of the headlines so you feel genuinely informed. Today, we've got a stack of sources piled high about two Hollywood veterans, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson.
Right. Their new film, The Naked Gun reboot, is getting loads of attention.
But it's not just the movie, is it? It's the whispers. Well, more than whispers now. The confirmations of this budding romance between them. That's what's really got people talking.
Absolutely. So our mission today, we're going to unpack their, pretty surprising career shifts.
Yeah.
Dig into the details of how they connected and look at how these celebrity relationships play out, under the microscope, especially with these unexpected nods of approval from family.
And because their stories are all about transformation, we'll also touch on Pamela's ex, Tommy Lee, and his own rather unexpected musical evolution.
Exactly. So this deep dive should give you some real food for thought on things like authenticity, image, and, the weird pressures of being famous.
Okay, let's dive in. Liam Neeson first. Decades on screen. That really intense, serious actor vibe.
Totally. You think of the heavy-hitting dramatic stuff early on.
Schindler's List, obviously. Oscar nomination for that.
And Rob Roy playing that 18th century Highlander.
Or Michael Collins, the Irish revolutionary leader. That was a big one in '96.
Yeah, powerful stuff. And what's really fascinating, a little detail from the sources, despite being raised Catholic in Northern Ireland, he said his inspiration to act actually came from watching Reverend Ian Paisley preach.
The Protestant leader.
Really? Yeah. He called it incredible watching this 6-foot-plus guy Bible thumping away.
Wow. That's quite a contrast for a future dramatic actor. How do you think seeing that kind of powerful speaking style maybe influenced him later?
Well, it must have given him an early lesson in presence and delivery, right? Which definitely feeds into those later roles, even the blockbusters.
So speaking of blockbusters, he made a pretty big shift, didn't he, into sci-fi and fantasy.
Huge. Suddenly, he's Qui-Gon Jinn in Star Wars. Episode 1, 1999. George Lucas called him a master actor, high praise.
And then the villain in Batman begins Ra's al Ghul. That was 2005.
And voicing Aslan the Lion in all the Narnia films?
Right. Plus, even smaller parts in big movies like Gangs of New York and Love Actually. Shows where he stood in the industry then.
Definitely. But, even with all that success, the sources mention a point where he'd sort of lost that leading man momentum.
Which seems hard to believe for someone like Neeson. How did that happen?
Well, the comeback is the amazing part. Taken. 2008.
Yes, the turning point.
Completely. It single-handedly brought him back as a leading man, and he was apparently stunned by it. Thought it was going straight to video.
But it didn't. It made a fortune like 9 times its budget.
And it basically kicked off that whole dad action movie trend.
Which he's owned ever since. Unknown, Nonstop, The Ice Road, Retribution.
The list goes on. And he's still doing them. Cold Storage, Ice Road 2, Hotel Tehran are all coming up.
It's an incredible second act, career-wise.
Yeah.
But this whole action star period, it happened alongside immense personal pain.
Yeah, his wife, Natasha Richardson, her death in 2009 was just tragic. A skiing accident. She was only 45.
They'd met doing a play, Anna Christie, on Broadway back in '93, married a year later.
Such a loss. And Neeson himself said that grief was a big reason he pulled out of Spielberg's Lincoln biopic.
Daniel Day-Lewis took that role in the end.
Right. Neeson coped by just working nonstop. Over 65 film projects since 2009. He said he's not good without work.
He also mentioned visiting her grave every day, talking to her. It's profoundly sad.
And you see how that grief echoes, Both his sons, Michael and Daniel, went into acting.
And Michael changed his last name to Richardson to honor her. That's powerful.
Now, we should probably mention Neeson hasn't avoided controversy. There were those comments in 2019 about wanting revenge on a random black man.
And in 2018, calling the Me Too movement a bit of a witch hunt.
He apologized for both. And interestingly, the sources suggest his career wasn't really hurt by them. His stock is as high as it has ever been, one piece said.
Which brings us to now, his latest pivot. Maybe the most surprising one yet.
Yeah, comedy. An out-and-out comedy.
At 73, taking on Leslie Nielsen's mantle in The Naked Gun reboot, playing Frank Drebin Jr.
And critics seem to be loving it. The Guardian said he deadpans it impeccably.
The Telegraph noted his gravelly matter-of-factness makes the absurdity even funnier.
He's got another comedy lined up, too. 4 kids walk into a bank. Quite the shift.
Liam's journey is just full of these unexpected turns, isn't it? And Pamela Anderson. Well, her transformation has been just as dramatic, maybe even more so in the public eye.
Definitely. For so long, she was just the Baywatch image, right? The blonde bombshell stereotype.
Yeah, that image really stuck. But she had her own take on feminism, even back then.
She did. She said something like, the true meaning is to use your strong womanly image to gain strong results in society.
Which is interesting, considering how she's reshaped that image recently.
Massively. Showing up makeup-free at Paris Fashion Week in 2023, then the Vanity Fair Oscars party in 2024.
It felt like a statement.
She called it an honest evolution, pushing back against ageism, against expectations.
And she's really explored that in her recent work, hasn't she? The memoir, Love, Pamela.
Which she wrote herself, no ghostwriter. And the documentary Pamela, a love story that her son Brandon co-produced.
She had that quote, again, sometimes, I don't know if I'm alive or dead. Very introspective.
And alongside all this, she's always been this huge advocate, right? Veganism, climate change, PETA support, that's been consistent.
Even her fashion partnership with Redone emphasizes eco-friendly stuff and her Canadian roots. It all feels very intentional now.
Very much about presenting her authentic self.
Now, looking back, her relationship history was, well, the sources say, famously colorful and quite eventful.
Understatement, maybe. The Tommy Lee marriage is the big one, 95 to 98.
Married after knowing him 4 days. Wild. They had their sons, Brandon and Dylan.
But that relationship was intense. The sex tape scandal, obviously, and the domestic abuse charge that sent Lee to jail.
Yet despite all that trauma, she's called him the love of my life, said she was never out of love with Tommy.
Though she also apparently said they're not on the best terms right now. Complex stuff.
Very. And there were other marriages, Kid Rock, Rick Salomon twice, that brief non-legal thing with John Peters.
Adil Rami, Dan Hayhurst. Yeah, it's quite the history.
Which brings us back to The Naked Gun. She plays Beth, the love interest to Liam's Frank Drebin Jr.
And it sounds like working together was significant. Neeson called her terrific, no huge ego, funny, easy to work with.
High praise from him.
And Pamela. She said working with Liam was electric, that she'd never experienced it before.
Electric.
Wow.
That really sets the stage for this romance narrative, doesn't it?
It really does. On-set chemistry, that mutual admiration, you can see how the lines might blur.
So this budding romance people are talking about, the sources say it really sparked on the Naked Gun set.
Seems like it. Back in October 2024, Neeson made that comment, professionally speaking, that he was madly in love with her, called her terrific to work with.
And she called him the perfect gentleman who brings out the best in you.
They apparently bonded over books and laughs, and she baked for him. Sourdough, cookies, muffins.
The baking, that's quite sweet, actually. He rated them superb, apparently.
Well, at the time, Pamela insisted it was all professionally romantic during filming. Lots of cast dinners, assistants present, that sort of thing.
Right, keeping it professional. But then came the press tour.
And things got playful. The London premiere, July 22nd, she kisses his cheek. He jokes, I feel like a couple right now.
Then that stunt on the Today Show, the pretend makeout session.
Definitely fanning the flames. And when they were asked point blank if they were dating, very coy.
Neeson said something like, we discovered we had a lovely budding chemistry. Let's just let it breathe.
And her reaction to that comment was apparently just...
Which is pretty funny. But then, significantly, July 28th, the New York premiere, they show up with all 4 kids.
Her sons, Brandon and Dylan. His sons, Daniel and Mikal. That felt like a deliberate signal.
And the very next day, boom, the confirmation.
Yep, July 29th. People magazine gets a source saying it's a budding romance in the early stages. It's sincere, they're smitten.
So the whispers become official news, which is interesting because Neeson had told people in 2024 he was past all that dating stuff.
People change their minds, I guess, but Pamela's still resisting labels. On Leave with Kelly and Mark, she said, why does there have to be a status? I'm enjoying the moment.
And in another interview, she just said, we just like each other. Neeson added, it grew naturally. They didn't force it.
So you've got the media frenzy, the confirmation, and them trying to keep it somewhat low-key. But then comes the family approval.
Which is maybe the most compelling part. Neeson's son Daniel on Andy Cohen's show just smiles and says yes when asked if he approves.
A sweet stamp of approval, the course called it, plus supportive emojis on her Instagram.
And even more telling, perhaps, Jolie Richardson, Natasha's sister.
7 red heart emojis on Pamela's Instagram post. August 1st. That feels significant.
Like a subtle seal of approval from someone really important in Liam's life. Andy Cohen, who was close to Natasha, even drew comparisons.
Said Pamela is independent, like Natasha was, loves to cook, has her own thing, has 2 boys. This just works. He basically said Liam deserves happiness after 16 years.
It's quite touching, really, though of course there's online debate. Some criticizing Pamela, others just happy for them both.
Always the way with celebrity relationships, isn't it? Which brings us to that other angle.
The fake dating thing.
Exactly. Hollywood has a history of staged affection for marketing, right? Think Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney for Anyone But You.
Or Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born.
These narratives get crafted to boost the movie or show. It's a strategy.
But it raises questions, doesn't it? The pressure on actors, the blurring lines for fans, those parasocial relationships where fans feel involved.
It definitely makes you look at situations like Neeson and Anderson's with a bit more context. Is it real, manufactured, or maybe a bit of both?
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
We've covered Liam and Pamela's journeys, their connection. But you mentioned Tommy Lee earlier, Pamela's ex. He's had his own kind of surprising shift, too, musically.
Oh, absolutely. People think Mötley Crüe drummer, rock and roll excess, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
But his solo album, Andro, is something else entirely. It really shows off this whole other side to his musical taste. He hinted at it with Methods of Mayhem, but this is deeper.
How so? What's he doing on it?
He basically locked himself in his studio for 2 years, just writing like a maniac, he said. And the album jumps all over the place, genre-wise.
Like what?
Hip-hop, funk, industrial sounds, electro, even dream pop. Stuff you just wouldn't associate with, the guy from Mötley Crüe.
Interesting. Is he working with big names on it?
That's the other cool thing. No, he deliberately went for lesser-known artists, often people he found online or from the underground scene.
Really? Like who?
There's a rapper called Kilvane he found online, called him Badass. A South African rapper, Push Push, who he said raps like lightning and is a maniac.
He sounds genuinely excited about finding these people.
Totally. There's Lucas Rossi doing funk, and a Prince cover that sounds more like Nine Inch Nails. A singer called King El Noir doing lush pop and R&B, Brooke Candy on a track called Demon Bitches.
Demon Bitches.
Okay, he said it's insane. And he let all the collaborators write their own lyrics, leading to this kind of philosophical synchronization, as one source put it.
So lots of different styles, different voices. Does it hang together as an album?
Surprisingly, yes. Very cohesive. He even realized afterwards it kind of split into male and female halves, with the female tracks being really dynamic.
What was his goal with it all?
He said he made it as a music fan, not a rock icon. Said good music is rare, and he just tried to do something different. His only allergy, he joked, is bad music.
It's another kind of evolution, isn't it? Stepping outside the expected box.
Yeah.
So we've really dug into these fascinating stories today. Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson, even Tommy Lee, their careers pivoting, unexpected relationships blooming, public images totally transforming.
And you can see how these individual stories really tap into bigger ideas about authenticity, image, how fame shapes things.
It really makes you think. In an industry where chemistry can literally be a marketing tool, where personal lives are curated for public view, what does an authentic evolution for a celebrity even look like?
That's the big question, isn't it?
And how does knowing about the potential strategies, the personal histories, the family dynamics, how does all that change how you, the listener, see these connections? Especially when something as profound as a long-held stance on love seems to shift for a new budding romance, something to definitely mull over.